Hey you guys, how y'all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to another exciting, very exciting, very informative session on the series Before You Say I Do. Y'all, I have really been enjoying this. This has taken me to another level in my singleness, one which I'm very grateful for. Today, we just had to come back with a part two because part one was just so exciting. And we were asking the men, we got an insight into what they were looking for in a woman. Today we are doing a part two to that. And this time it's not just me asking the questions. I brought all my friends along with me, and then we're going to be asking them questions, more in-depth questions. But before we go into that, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead, do that right now. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Share the link, tell a friend to tell a friend. We have some exciting information to share with you guys. Okay, people, let's talk. Welcome back. How y'all doing? Let's talk about what men want. Ladies, I know y'all came equipped with questions. I'm gonna give you all the privilege to start off, and then we're going to be asking the men. Okay, what more? What more do you want to know about what the men want in relationships?
I'm gonna go first because I think I probably have only one question, so I don't want it to be stolen. In the first part to expectations, um, they mentioned, especially the pastor, he mentioned about not disregarding the physical appearance. So I'm going to ask, but I could still put that question to both him and David. What if you would say like ratio, what's the percentage of, let's say you would give physical appearance in your expectations? Okay, maybe if spirituality is up there, maybe your characteristics is maybe after that. Where would it fall in like your expectations and whatnot?
Oh wow, a hot question straight off the bat, man. But I like it. Um, if we speak in general, I don't think you could clearly define for every single man where the physical will play a part into. For some, it may be further than others. Um, I think, however, especially for the physical, that in itself, it's not a cookie cutter shape or approach or look, because for each man, that would be something different. Obviously, we understand that looks, shape, sizes diminish through time, and that changes or whatnot. So the point I was trying to make for that series is the whole point of making yourself appealing to your spouse or to your partner. So whereas appearance may have caught your eye in the initial stage, once you and that person are working together within that relationship, then whatever is appealing to the both of you, that is what you're really looking at or going for, making yourself appealing to your spouse. So for me, based on whoever the individual is, that level or range would change based on where they put looks as an importance. For sure, we'll hope that the spiritual man wouldn't put it at the top of his list, knowing that there is so much more that needs to be ticked off um, before looking at that.
Okay, I I agree with the pastor 100%. I just want to say in my own words that um, physicality or beauty would be what initially drew you to that person, but then it's not number one. It might be initial, but it's not number one. So it might come first, being that this is what attracted you, but then there should be so much more. So the ideal person is both beautiful on the inside and on the outside. While is the one on the outside something to you that appeals to you, but then when you get to know that person more in depth, then you realize then, well, is either this person is someone that you should keep and pursue, or this person out inside does not reflect their outside.
I feel David and I spoke before we come on here. He answered the question perfectly. He gave me the right backup. Thank you so much.
All right, we see the men are in tune. Your ladies, come on, go deep with the questions. Alex, what else? What else do you want to know about the men in terms of expectations? Yo, this is a one-time opportunity where we're gonna go inside of their heads and find out what are the secrets that they've been keeping from us. What more? What more do we need to know?
My question to you guys would be, as a Christian man, well, searching for a spouse or with the intention of getting somebody to marry, um, which way would you think would be best to look for a partner, in the sense of whether you should have in the back of your mind what you're looking for, or whether you should just trust God blindly and go with whatever, meaning that, because previously you all spoke about the physical attraction and everything. So I would like to know whether you would go blindly into it, not knowing what exactly you want, or would you have that look or that physique in the back of your mind? Which one would be work best for you guys in searching for a spouse?
Okay, let me answer that question first. There are not only looks attract in the, people initially. I also sometimes it's sometimes a warm character that attracts that individual first. Sometimes before they look at, like, the total appearance, a warm greeting or something just draws them before that. So therefore, we could see that it's not only one aspect that could create attraction. So if you enter into a relationship and it's never because of the looks per se, and it's because of the character, then even what you had in mind with, let's say, what you imagine you would have gotten or what you wanted, this would be trumped by, the character of that person, because this is what then attracted you. So it's not all about sometimes going into a relationship with sometimes a set mentality.
So would you let God choose for you totally?
If it's God sent, definitely, ideally it would be the person that you imagine, but it's hardly ever the case, because sometimes the person with this character that you need or this spiritual aspect that you need doesn't quite reach the bar that you've set. You say, I wanted a tall, skinny, rounded shape, but then you have so much detail to that person that the person that you imagine cannot, is like just an imagination. That's all it was. So that person cannot reach that standard. Yet you will see that person as that person you imagined. Still, regardless of the fact that they don't have the curves and everything that you wanted, but this person now even supersedes your imagination, what you wanted for yourself. So God choosing for you is always best, but then still you have your preferences. Regardless of preferences, though, the best choice is what the choice that the Father made for you.
Yeah, I'll just add to that in really stating that and I like how you coined it, Alex, to say as a Christian or as a child of God, if you're really looking, then what you have in the back of your mind will not be totally superficial. So coming away from the curves and the height and the complexion and stuff like that, an individual will have in the back of their mind some moral and characteral traits that they're looking for in an individual. And that is what you should have in the back of your mind. Some moral and characteral traits that you're looking for. And when that person comes, if God places that person in your life, then you could say, yes, this is the man or this is the woman I believe that God has placed in my life, because they check off the box of the moral and the characteral traits. Because the shell of the physique, the finance, the job, all of that, those things could pass, right? So those things are just the shell, and there's no way to verify whether this person is there forever based on the shell. But once that person could check off that moral and characteral traits, I mean, Proverbs 31 tells you about a type of a woman, not only industrially, but that woman was a woman that had a level of moral and ethical standard towards her. Her husband was, his head was able to be head high at the gates, meaning that nobody could not say anything degrading about her because she held herself to some standard. So I believe more than just saying, okay, let God drop that person from the sky or let God do that. As persons who know who we are, we should also know the standard morally and ethically of who we place in our lives. Because the heart could be deceiving as well. Eh? And when the heart wants something, many times we could say, God send that person in my life. And when you really put that person up against the checklist of the character that they're supposed to have, they find themselves nowhere close to that checklist. So many persons say, yeah, God send that person. And God just there like, Father, why are you putting me in this thing? Because I didn't join that together. You know? So that moral and ethical checklist for a child of God should be in the forefront of your mind when looking at someone.
Excellent. Oh, your ladies came prepared. I love it. And the responses are very, very good. My question, in the last video, you guys spoke about finding a submissive wife, and that was one of the things that you're looking for. How, as a believer, do you filter past the possible facade that women, and I'm going to speak generally, women could put up or sometimes put up, even in church, to show that they are possibly submissive, or they would show character traits that they would want to be perceived as. What is your what is the filter that you use?
Um, yes, so somebody could put up a front. Both men and women do it. So it's not just there's the women, but then somebody could put up a front, but then there are people who are close to them that know their character, their real character, you know. They could put up a show in church, but then there's always that person that says, God, me see, watch him, watch him there dancing up like this, because they know they know this person's true identity. They know. So you have to do your research, and you know their background is very important. How does their parents does their parents say about them? What do the people that are close to them say about them? And you don't speak to them when they're around because oftentimes we get people who flatter and try not to, you know, um, tarnish or say something that would, you know, affect the person's character. But then their true character is always reflected when they think they're not being examined. So you have to make that kind of environment, even you yourself, make it feel like you're not really looking at them, or you're not really interested, but then you seen a real person beneath the reading between the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, and also actions speak louder than words. So despite the front that this person put up, and sometimes we are quick to jump to the mask that people put up and not allow time to prove anything, you know. So I will say give that relationship time for you to see what's going on. Some persons they say allow yourself to see the persons in all the various seasons of life, you know. Give yourself time to get to know that person, and as David was saying, do your research. So hang around their family, hang around their friends, hear what other people are saying about them, and really ask yourself the real question: do I really want to know? Do I really want to know? Because in my time of observation, I realize most people really don't want to. Once I set in my mind that this is the person I want, we really don't want to know what anybody else say. So even though we hear someone say, listen, you know, this person kind of headstrong or that, in your mind, you will say, nah, man, maybe I could. So be honest with yourself to say, do I really want to know? And therefore take the prerequisite steps to truly know.
Excellent. Ladies, you have an opportunity for another question. Everybody has one more question and then we're gonna end this video because the answers have been very lengthy.
I don't know. I have a quick one. It refers to, okay, expectations. Um, I once heard someone in the church, a senior person. I never thought he was thinking that way, that modernized way. But he said, I grew up thinking, like being taught and knowing that I feel it's the man's job to go after, to seek and do. But he was like, if you're not getting some modernized world, things change, you do your thing, and so forth. But to me, I'm still of that opinion. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all what would make your job easier? I have heard about the person is shy, the person is this. I'm like, you want something, you go after it. So what's your take on this?
All right, well, I think she answered her own question by saying that you want something, you go after it. If I want something, I'm going to go after it. It doesn't matter how shy I am, doesn't matter how, indifferent, how pull back, but then if I desire something and then I go after it. So, and I don't think as women, what I think you should do is make yourself available, not um not anything more, not to go after, not to be the one be pursuing the relationship. Um, because oftentimes men like the chase or what they call hunt sometimes it really feels when you acquired or when you pursue and you won over that person, it really is rewarding to you, and then you want to cherish that thing like a treasure. You don't want to lose what you finally gained. So I do not think that women should be the ones doing any pursuing, and the man will go after what he wants.
I like that. And I just want to add a little flip to it because I believe the sisters on this forum know exactly what they do. They put together that Esther effect and they put together that Ruth and Naomi effect. So the thing is, I believe both women and women hunt, but they hunt in different ways. The woman tends to be more subtle in a hunt, and she lets the man believe that yes, hey, you're really pursuing me down the road. But I think it all sets in play to basically the rules that we adhere ourselves to. So as David was saying, if you're interested, don't make yourself hard to get or put up a total wall because of course the man wants to feel that, listen, he pursued and he was able to conquer, for lack of a better word. But women, I do believe women hunt, but they hunt differently.
Okay, I have a part B to Lydia's question, but that's not my question. I have my own question. I have a part B to your question. David, in your answer, you said that women, and also you, Pastor Martin, you said that women need to make themselves available. Make clarify that a bit more. Break it down a little bit more, because making myself available could mean a lot of different things. What do you mean by that? So you said don't put up a wall, but even so, like that's not clear enough. What do you mean by make myself available? Do I just go out there and put like a sign on my back? I'm available, you know? I'm available. I'm not putting up any walls. How do I draw the line
Right.
between making myself available and pursuing?
Okay. First of all, you cannot be available yet you're taken. Yet you have other prospects all around, or they always at you, and you're always there with somebody, or another, or and also in availability, there's also make yourself desirable as well, in that this person is something that would, or reflects someone that would be wife material. So then when you have that person already a wife, you take that person in. But then if you have somebody, that person is not available, when they're not wife material, they're not available. So it's not something that would be desirable as anyways. So you have to, while you make yourself free, you're not in any entanglement, you're not in any other relationship, and you have these qualities that someone would have desired. So that means you're available. And also it's like you portraying yourself as well. So if you go up and you sing a song in the church, and then you do a quick eye or whatever, because you like Pastor Martin say, women hunt in a more, you know what it used to way, undercover way. So you make yourself available, is what I meant.
Alrighty, Alex, do you have another question?
Yeah, my question would be, well, we all know that both women and men, they do pretend very good. They come to they come to church, and out there it's a whole different life. So you met, I'm just giving my scenario. So you met that you were not even looking at her as a potential wife, because you know some things are not exactly what you look for, meaning that she's not of the same religion as you. However, she's a very spiritual person. She has she has a very nice character. Her core values, just apart from that one religion, the other values, her morals and whatever, it goes on par with what you really want. Do you accept her as somebody that could be pursued, or do you let her slide?
Okay, I'm going to give each of you 1 minute to answer this question because we are running out of time. Go ahead,
All right,
Pastor
that's
Martin.
a really good question, right? And it's something that a lot of persons talk about. Now, I would say no, you don't just let that person slide all the way, but a conversation needs to be had with that person, and you all need to figure out whether you all could be yoked on the same level or not. If you cannot be yoked on the same level, then obviously you wouldn't pursue, because people may look at religion and say, well, that is just a minor. But that, being unequally yoked in that aspect, even if it's in the same Christian faith, but you're yoked in different denominations, in itself could still cause a hindrance in the relationship. So we have stories all over where persons would have been of different denominations, and one would have come over and stuff like that through various prayer, fast, study, revelation. So it doesn't mean to say, okay, well, you push that to the side, but don't put yourself under a blanket and say you could stay there and I stay here and we still work. So a conversation should be had first.
Pastor Martin almost answered exactly how I would, but then there's a little bit of difference in my answer in that I don't think this person should just let up. I think they should pursue. Exactly what point he brought up, that being equally yoked doesn't mean that you could be in the same religion and then you're not equally yoked. So then there's a line drawn between whether you are in the same religion and you're equally yoked, or I believe also that you could be in a separate religion yet you're equally yoked. Why? Because your faith and your whole mind is in the God that we serve, and you could work with that person. I don't believe, because I know of even examples that people are in separate religions, yet they work fine. So I don't think that it is as big an issue. If you could, bring that person over, then fine. But then, as long as you don't cause that wouldn't cause havoc in the relationship, you could work with that. I believe that you should pursue rather if it's God sent, if it's the one God has for you, you would know that this is the person or this is not the person. If you know that this is the person, I believe you should go ahead and pursue.
Yeah, I have so many questions. Listen, but time will not permit. All right, I'm gonna ask my question, and I'm gonna literally give you guys 1 minute to answer it this time. 1 minute. After your minute, I'm continuing. David, you spoke about knowing who God has for you, and you also brought that up in your last video. God speaks to people in different ways. Does that same principle apply when God is confirming to you who your wife is, or if that person is for you? And as a matter of fact, is God the one choosing, or are you the one choosing and God is affirming that this is an okay person for you?
God either chooses or affirms. He either like send a person your way, and there's no denying, there's no way you could say, well, that's really not the person for me. Or you've made a choice, you've made the decision based on all the criteria that you had. And we must be careful as to wanting the right things, like Pastor Martin said. So if you want the right thing and you've attained the right things and you've chosen based on these things, and God just simply says, well, yes, well done, that's the person for you.
Well, this one I have a different view on, because while most persons say God choose, I believe we choose with God directed guidelines. So why I say that is, many people will fall in love with someone and say this was a God sent, can't find anybody else in the world. And God forbid that spouse should die or something, and we find our next God sent. We find our next one in the world. So just like how Abraham would have sent his servant and say, listen, go to that direct place and get a wife or my son there. I believe once we are able to ensure that this individual falls within the principles, holy principles and tenets of the faith, I think that there are many persons we could be yoked with, just understanding that we have committed ourselves to this one individual. So we choose by God's guidelines and directions.
All right, excellent. Thank you guys so much. Our time is really fast spent. We've made this video a lot longer than I even thought it was possible. But viewers, this was an inside view. We went inside of the men's head today and you pull out all the juicy information that we've always wanted to know. Please place your comments in the comment section, place your question, place your views. If you have different views to them, oh, we'd be happy to read them. We'd be happy to know. Thank you for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here and we are sharing this information with you guys. Share the link, subscribe, like, all the good stuff. Thank you for watching. Bye.